Yo, I'm Ken Anio, sports performance trainer from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm rocking with the FanvVew podcast.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the FanvVew podcast. It's your host, G-Sportz, man. I got a special guest in the building, man. Good friend of mine, Ken Anio, out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Big time sports performance trainer, man, that's been doing this thing with the youth, training a plethora of big time 4-star, 5-star recruits, and even guys in the NFL. Appreciate you coming on the podcast, Ken.
Oh, man, I appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, been trying to get you on for a while now. You know, it's always hard trying to get your schedules to align with somebody that got a lot going on as I do myself. So I do understand. But, man, getting you on, it was very important to me, bro, just because the viewers, kids, families that watch our podcast, man, like I always say, we like to entertain. We also like to inform and educate, bro. And I know having you on this podcast is going to do such a thing. But we always like to start the podcast, man, talking about your journey, bro.
Yeah.
I know you played college ball at Graham, and you've been doing your training thing. You done kind of got in the management space, helping kids with their process and stuff like that. So man, take us back, man. Like, how did you even get involved in the sport of football and get so passionate about it? And what got you wanting to give back to the youth and help them with their process as they transition from not only from high school to college,
Right.
but from college to the league?
Right. No doubt, man. And, first and foremost, man, I watch the show all the time. So, I watch it every time you got a guest coming on. So, I definitely feel honored to be here,
No
man.
doubt.
But what started from a small town called Jackson, Louisiana, is right outside of Baton Rouge. About 18 people on my senior football team, my senior year. About
Dang.
18 people on the team. So I just remember going through the process, man. I had a lot of people, man, guys where I'm from don't go to college.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't go to college
Right.
to play no football. So I just remember telling myself, I'm gonna do something different. So I walk on at Grambling. Didn't know nothing about the clearinghouse. I was eligible,
Right.
but didn't know nothing about the clearinghouse.
Right.
Had the ACT, had the GPA. So I get to school and I never forget them telling me, like, yeah, man, you're gonna have to come off the practice field. You ain't eligible. So I remember trying to get my stuff straight, trying to reach back out to my school. Hey, look, they say I need this, because they wasn't accustomed to having
Right,
guys
right.
go to college to play no sports. So
Right.
had to sit my freshman year. So they had what you call a Prop 48.
Right.
I was in
I remember that.
and I needed that program because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know that I was like, oh shoot, like I got to get bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I just remember, just that whole year. I think at the time Bruce Eugene and all those guys was at Grambling. So I watched them as like, this is what college football is. I wasn't prep for it, so it gave me a opportunity to work out and kind of see it get hands-on experience with the strength and conditioning program. So went through that whole program. So going into my second year, I had a better feel for it. So I end up that year, there's a couple guys from the city. Greg Fassett played out here. That took me under their wing. It was like, because I used to work hard as hell. Because it's like I didn't want to go back home.
Right.
Because we didn't do it.
Right.
So did that. Greg ended up going down 2 weeks before the Bayou Classic. Had an injury. I ended up starting as a as a first year guy. Ended up starting that corner.
Nervous as hell.
Nervous as hell, man. I'll never forget, dog. I'm in a hope they don't throw the ball on me. You know what I'm saying? So
In the dome.
In the dome.
62,000.
Man. And then that was the first year I came back from New Orleans. So it was that first Bayou Classic after Katrina.
Yep.
And we ended up losing at the end of the game. But I just remember that. So it's like, if I'm gonna do this, I need to be better prepared. So I worked my tail off, dog. I, just grinded, and it's like I didn't have a trainer. Back then, trainers wasn't prevalent. Like,
And you realize how, if you would have had a trainer, how much better you probably would have got.
right. And I didn't know this till after though. Because even when I go to when I go back home, I just remember hearing stories of Walter Payton and how they ran up hills and they did this. So I'm like, So I'm just doing like what stories I heard from the great is like I'm just trying to do stuff that all right, this is what it take. So get to my senior year at Grambling, going into my senior year, end up fracturing my fibula, and had to miss the rest of the year. Well, because I sat out that first year and because I was academically eligible, I couldn't get a 6-year waiver.
Wow.
Didn't know nothing about it, so I couldn't get a 6-year waiver. I found that out. So the injury happened right before my senior year, the first game of my senior year. Grambling didn't file that waiver until after the season.
Too late.
I could have came back with the last 3 games of the year. So I had a good coach at the time, Rod Broadway, who was like, Anio, I see a lot of coaching characteristics in you. What you think about coaching? At the time, they had the UFL, United Football League. Well, I get there, I go to Vegas. I'm there maybe about 3 weeks. NFL have a lockout. So NFL hold it, they have their lockout. Say, damn. So the league crashed. They no more existent. So at that time, it's like, well, what do I do? So I go back to Grambling, coach for those 3 years. I was about to go into NFL scouting. I was under Doug Williams at the time. I stayed under Doug for 3 years. He brought me in the office. He said, look, Anio, you got a baby on the way. I know you want to go into scouting, but that's not the best for you. He was like, because it's gonna put you on the road a whole lot. You're not gonna be around your kids. He said you need to be that. You need to be with your wife and raising them kids.
Facts.
So moved back down to Baton Rouge.
So as you transitioning with all of this going on, where's your mental health at?
Well, it's bad. I'm in a bad space because football is all I knew. You know what I'm saying? I beat the odds by doing something different. Got to the point where I felt like I come home and I was like the hometown hero.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a bad mental space because
you feel like you're a failure.
I feel like I failed. I'm back where it started at. In my mind, I'm going to the league. I done got this for. I'm going to the league. Had some guys who went to the league that I played with, and it's like, damn, I just wanted a shot. So I felt I got that high, and everything fell apart.
So, like me and you do, we mentor a lot of kids and help kids through their process. When they going through things in their life, I know you had your coaches like Coach Doug Williams and stuff like that, but did you have a male figure in your life that was able to like help you through that process and help you with your mental health?
Nah, I had my pops, and all he'll say is you got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hey,
that old school way.
Yeah. So the crazy thing is when I get back home, I'm like, all right, well, what I'm gonna do? The good thing about it is I was able to get a degree out of it. So I ended up getting a master's degree because when I coached, they was like, well, you might as well get your GA. In order for me to get paid, that's what I had to get in grad school. So I ended up graduating with a master's. So I come home and it's like, well, I graduated undergrad in graphic design. Just so happened they had an art position.
Well, I heard that art's hard in college.
It's tough because they don't care about sports.
Think it'll be easy, but I heard it's tough.
Nah, because they don't care. You don't have a lot of sports guys who go into art.
Yeah,
so they don't care about no football. So,
right.
You know what I'm saying? 7 o'clock to 9:30 class.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, did that. End up going back to my old school and teaching. Now, this is one thing I always tell the kids: you got to be careful how you deal with your teachers and stuff because
you never know when you're gonna need them.
It was either that or going to plant. And get to the interview, my old principal interviewing me. Man, I had to curse this lady out in school. I got put out of class, suspended. I'm like, oh, I ain't getting this job. When she walked in, I didn't know she was still there. I was like, man, I ain't getting this job, dog. And just through my presentation and being respectful, she was like, you done changed a whole lot. And
so she didn't hold that against you for what you did in the past.
Didn't.
But she could have.
Pulled me to the side after.
She could have.
She could have. And it's just crazy because after that, I went straight to teaching high school. And it was like, dang, like just going back and remembering how I was in school and how that could come back and, you know what I'm saying? Like it could come back and affect me. So it's like through that mentoring now, it's like, be careful how you treat these teachers. Because even with these athletes, these NFL guys or these NFL personnel, these college coaches, they going back and talk to your teachers.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you may get
they going to talk to the janitors.
Everybody. How is he as a person?
Cafeteria workers.
Everybody.
Yeah, bro. I remember when Amik Robinson was coming out for the draft 3 years ago, and I was talking to the principal, one of the assistant principal at Tupelo High, and he was like, because me and him go to the same barber, and he coming to barber shop, he's like, man, G, bro, some of the people, like the scouts, I don't know if it was a scout or who exactly, but it was somebody from the San Diego Chargers. Yeah. Well, now it's the Los Angeles Chargers, but at the time it was the San Diego Chargers. Somebody from the Chargers organization came to the school. He was like, bro, they was having like 15, 20-minute conversations with the janitor, with the cafeteria worker. And I ended up calling him Meek and telling him. And he was like, man, you serious, bro? I'm like, yeah, dog. And that just made me mentally prepare myself for, when I'm talking to kids and giving them advice. Like, bro, when you're in high school, I don't care how good you think you are. If this something you're trying to do long term and get to the league,
definitely,
bro, these people gonna be vouching for you.
That's it.
down the
That's it.
line. I mean, it's millions and millions of dollars on the line, so they got to do their research.
Yeah, I was helping a guy go through his process, and I remember him calling me about 2 years ago. He was like, "Man, they talked to one of the chicks. So one of the people in the training room
Uh-huh.
had told a scout, like, yeah, I remember they asked, had he ever had any female issues in it? It's like, well, yeah, I remember one day, his girlfriend came in here and she cut up and this or that, and the scouts asked him about it, going through his pre-draft process. We heard that you had a female come up. Is this gonna be something that's gonna follow you to the league? You know what I'm saying? So just, just
They gonna get that
yeah,
backstory.
they're gonna find it all out. So that's another thing that go through this process with me helping those guys. And I know I kind of jumped forward, but when I got going back to the story, whenever I got back to my high school, when I became a school teacher, it was like I started seeing stuff from a different angle.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing people just like myself, seeing kids that, you know, you got to tuck your shirts in at school, and these kids walk around with the shirt out. I ain't tucking my
Hood
shirt,
on the head.
bro. How hard is it to tuck your shirt in? What is it gonna hurt you? Take the hood off. You plan on going to yes sir? What they gonna come talk to these teachers, and these teachers gonna I tell them how good of an athlete you are, but these
Yeah.
teachers gonna tell them how you are as a
Yeah.
person. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
The whole body of work.
yep. So that's kind of that's kind of how I got started when I got back to the high school. It was like took a little small group of kids and say, look, I'm gonna pour back into my community. I'm gonna get us, I'm gonna give knowledge back to them. You know what I'm saying? And I just start seeing, the kids that I was helping out, the kids I was training, how I was helping them to, now they have technique. The coaches are coaching, but now they got individual technique that they were focusing on. They help push them ahead. And it's just been growing since then, man.
So, you've trained a slew of athletes, man. Sheldon Sampson,
Hmm.
LSU commit Colin Jackson, LSU commit Joel Rogers. Recently, LSU commit Danny Johnson, who had a hell of a story coming out of Southern University, out of a SWAC school, been in the league, what, 7, 8 plus
Year
years?
6 for him.
Year 6. I mean, that's incredible for a kid that comes out of Southern University
Right.
and having that kind of longevity
Definitely.
in the league. You know what I'm saying? To get to that second contract,
Right.
that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen for some first rounders.
Right.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Russell Gage, who's a standout at LSU, got his second contract, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Recently drafted Damone Clark. You've poured and trained a lot of big time prospects, bro, that came out of the city of Baton Rouge and just Louisiana in general. Talk about that, man, and what kind of feeling and how gratifying that is to see them have that kind of success after you poured into them since they was coming up as young pups.
Definitely. And I would always say this, like, so with Danny, me and Danny grew together.
Right.
So Danny, he's also my little cousin, but I started training Danny going to the 7th grade.
Right.
He was going to the 7th grade. So he would work out with the older guys who I was training, who was Kendall Beckwood and that group of guys there. And when they graduated, it was just me and him. So I remember him hitting me up, man, let's get some work. Man, it got down to a point when Danny went to Southern, and he could have went anywhere. But didn't have the exposure. So what we doing now with 7, he didn't have
High school Danny Johnson.
East Feliciana. Yeah. So with Danny, he chose Southern, and I just remember telling him like something as simple as a foot ladder drill. Like, look, we're gonna perfect the foot ladder drill, because what's gonna happen? You're gonna get to camp, and they're gonna put that ladder out just for warm ups. A lot of the guys ain't gonna know how to do it. You're gonna get up there and kill it, and the coach gonna say, "Yeah, that's how you do it." Hey, Danny, lead this line.
First impression.
First impression. And he called me after the first day. Man, I just killed that foot ladder drill. They had me leading
all full circle.
They had me leading the lines, and from there it was like, go through the W drill. Man, I'm killing it, bro. They asking me, man, who you be working with? It was at a time Danny had all Southern DBs and receivers was out there, plus the quarter. I don't even train quarterbacks,
right?
But I had Shorts and Austin. I had all them boys out there training.
Austin Howard,
yeah, Austin Howard. We had Southern whole
St. James.
Yep. So I used to train Austin. We had Southern all these skilled players. It was like Southern practice. But with Danny, it was like just a work ethic, because we felt like he had got slept on, and that's what we use as motivation. Man, there's days where Southern have a home game on a Saturday, Thursday after practice, he coming to Zachary and we training.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So Danny's story is different because people didn't see the work that he put into it. You know what I'm saying?
That brings me back to I had Teddy Ville, the running backs coach from Louisiana Tech on here, and he says he sticks by this phrase, TNT, takes no talent.
Yep.
And that's what it sounded like Danny had. Yep. Like he did everything you had to do that took no talent.
That's it. And whenever nobody else working, he working. You know what I'm saying? Even now, he still got that same. One thing about him, and he probably don't even realize it. Like, he give back so much. Like this guy, he'll do 4 and 5 events a year. giving back to the community. And then on top of that, he'll go to Southern and just be out there working out. He'll get his work, but he's out there working out with Southern DBs for no charge. He's just out there working, and he don't mind helping. So God, God has opened up a lot of doors for him. So even when stuff happen, like he put on practice squad, finds a way to elevate back to to the active roster. And it's like, because he put the work in and he do right by people, he been being blessed. And it's different situations for different people.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Everybody path different.
Yeah, so like with Russ was a 6th-round draft pick, had opportunity to get some starts at receiver, and end up becoming a featured guy. So now his market opens up, his value increase. So it's like everybody's story look different, but one thing I try to do is meet them where they at, be real with them. Don't sell them false hope.
Yep.
Russ asked me going into contract, how much you think I'm gonna get, bro? I remember one time we was thinking he was gonna get 16 million a year.
Right.
That was the numbers, but going through the season, I'm telling him like, look, we down. We probably be about 12. Then he get hurt, and we like, man, we might be about 6 or 7. You know what I'm saying? So it just depends on, with me, where those guys at. All those relationships are different. You know what I'm saying? Damone Clark, different. Going into the draft, they tell him at the combine, he called me crying, bro. They said I gotta have surgery. You know what I'm saying?
He had the neck,
the spinal fusion.
Spinal fusion.
And I'm like, so with my part, it's like I could panic and start crying with him, like, dang, bro. With me, I don't see NFL. I see a young black African American kid who trying to make a way for him and his family. I got kids, so I know what it's like. I'm like, bro, if I if I get fired from my job, I come home, I can't tell my kids, hey, look, dad ain't got it. I gotta hustle. I gotta find a way. So like I told him when he called me, like, look, bro, we gotta figure this out. It ain't the end of the world. I say, we got to figure it out. Even if you don't play football no more, we still got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So just being there for him, I find that more helpful than, the NFL running out on the tunnel and making tackles on Sunday. That's the easy. They handle that. My job is to make sure that they stand on track and not losing focus and understanding, like, look, I got to make this, I got to maximize this opportunity because it may not come again.
Man, that's powerful. So, I talked about all the kids that you train, man, and you did a hell of a job. Cause I seen the growth from all those kids we just talked about.
Definitely.
Not so much Danny and Russell and them, cause I didn't know you back then.
Yeah.
But when you talk about Colin Jackson, who just enrolled at LSU, Sheldon Sampson, who just enrolled at LSU, Joel Rogers, who's committed to LSU, guys like that, I seen the growth in those guys every year in high school, and I'm like, Ken know what he's doing.
For sure.
Right? So my question to you, Ken, a lot of kids, because I'm not a trainer.
Right.
But a lot of kids always asking me, gee, who should I go train with? How do I know if this trainer is better for what I'm trying to do to enhance my skills, or can he get the most out of me, or et cetera, et cetera? Mm-hmm. What's your advice to a kid that might be in Norman, Oklahoma, that's trying to figure out how to pick the right trainer to get the most out of him and get him to reach his full potential, not only as a football player, because that's what I like about what you do, but as a person.
Right. So I had this talk with one of my guys. It's crazy that you asking these questions, but Damone was going to Dallas, and he was like, I need somebody to train with out here. I'm helping him find somebody. So it's like I told every kid I train, I said, look, if I'm ever explaining the drill to you and you don't know how that relates to your position, stop me and say, well, coach, how does this relate to what I do? If I can't explain that, then we scratch that drill. That holds me accountable as a trainer, and that makes sure you're getting what you need. So for a kid that's looking for a trainer, watch those videos. See if you feel that it transitions to what you do. You know what I'm saying? Me, you won't ever see a lot of video, and no, not to no other trainer that record their training, but you hardly ever see videos of me training because I'm too busy training. You know what I'm saying? Now I go through the videos with them, but I feel that I'm gonna reach them to help them to get better. I'm not in it for myself. You know what I'm saying? And you got to get paid to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Course,
no knock on that. But are we really helping these guys to take those steps? You know what I'm saying? If Colin didn't train at 6'2 and a half, 200 pounds, if he didn't train as a safety, he'll probably be a DN or outside backer. When Colin was 7 years old, we learned how to backpedal, proper stance, proper start. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being intentional. There's some sessions, and I'm pretty sure all the other trainers could relate to it. It's times where kids come and they just don't get it. And it's like, if I'm a trainer kid, either you're going to get it or I can't train you. You know what I'm saying?
So you've had situations where a kid came train with you and you was like, you're wasting your time.
You're wasting your time.
I'm telling the parent,
you wasting money. He needs to take a break. Colin was one of those kids. When Colin first started coming, I told his mama, look, give him a break. I said, Colin, he's not getting it.
When you say give him a break, you mean like his body is like
Yeah, just
breaking
make sure
down, or
make sure it's what he want to do. Because some parents want it worse than the kid.
there you go.
So the kid, they may drop the kid off the train, and this kid out there in 100-degree weather doing some drills with me, and it's like I'm having to motivate him. Yesterday I told my group, I had 2 college kids. I said, if I gotta motivate you to come from under the shade and get back on the field to do a drill, then we wasting time. I should be motivating you. Hey man, go up and get it. Not, hey, come on man, let's push through. If I gotta motivate you to push through, you won't. Your career gonna be short. Gonna be cut short because the NFL is full of a bunch of guys who are self motivated. You know what I'm saying? So, to those kids that are looking to train, it's like number one, it got to be in you. I always tell, I tell kids this: I train kids at the max probably 2 to 3 times a week. But those other days, you got to be doing something on your own. So if you got to wait on the training to train with me, then you ain't gonna make it. That got to be something that be coach. Yeah, a kid told me yesterday. Yeah, me and my dad was in the back in the yard doing some of these drills. I say, you're gonna be okay.
Self
Because
motivation.
you taking what you learning with me, and you telling you, hey, look, I'm gonna do some crossover runs coming out my break, working on the top of my routes, coming out my breaks. It's like, okay, now you understand it. So at a point, it's like with Russell Gage and Danny Johnson, we did so many backpedal breaking out your break coming on a 45-degree. I can't teach them nothing new. You know what I'm saying? Think about it.
Yeah.
The quarterback coach ain't teaching Tom Brady nothing new.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I just got to find ways to sharpen it. Hey, look, just stay a little low out your break. We working maintenance. You know what I'm saying? We working like just a little small stuff.
Maintaining.
Yeah, with Russell Gage, he's knowledgeable. He understands how to beat press release. I can't teach him nothing new. It ain't no new press techniques that these DBs doing. So now you're talking, well, how do I help this kid to get to a second contract?
Right.
In the offseason, we're gonna work all this mental stuff, mental prep. You know what I'm saying?
That's so. Like when you have kids that's coming trying to train, and they saying, Coach, listen, I want to go play Power 5 football.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about explaining to them and being realistic with them about what level they probably can go play it?
Yeah. If I get a DB, you 5'6", 150 pounds, you ain't a Power 5. You got to be out in the Power 5.
Right.
But you got to accept it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you 6'3", you run a 4'7", you ain't a receiver. You may be an outside back or DN, which those attributes are good. You could be 6'3" and run a 4'7", and that'd be pretty good for a defensive end,
Right.
outside backer. So it's just helping them find placement. You know what I'm saying? And we had a lot of success with helping guys find homes, but it's the talent, like you do, it's talent evaluation.
Yeah.
If I get a kid 5'10", 150, 5'10", about 170 pounds, if you're not blazing fast, then you're a defensive player. Because on offense, if you can't take the top off at 5'10",
Right.
then we could find a 6'2" guy that could run. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being honest with the parents, and the parents they respect it. I've had a lot of parents come back, Coach, I should have listened to you. I had a kid daddy. The kid was about 6'1", wanted to play receiver, wasn't that fast. I told the daddy, I said, man, your son is a corner. Man, you want to play? Almost looked at me as if I was hating on the kid.
They wanted the sexy position.
This kid, see him on a Friday night. He's starting corner as a 10th grader at 5A school. Coach, you told me he was a corner. I'm here to help. You know what I'm saying? So it's just the parents just being more open to listening and taking that advice. You know what I'm saying?
Do you have any parents that has dual sport kids that play basketball and football, and they putting all their focus on basketball? But we know
right.
Would they have a better shot at it, and
Right.
what's going to translate to that next level, right?
Right.
How do you go about educating them on that process when they putting all their eggs in one basket, which is basketball?
Right. Well, back in the day, we used to do 3 and 4 sports and be good at all of them. These days with the training and stuff, if you're a football player that say, oh, well, I'm playing, having these conversations with these parents all the time. 5'10" kid that's playing cornerback, but he say, Coach, I'm playing AAU basketball for the summer. And there's no knock on AAU basketball for the summer, but that got to be secondary.
Right.
Or your time is going to run out.
Right.
Because you're going to miss some stuff that you should have learned in football. There's no way that you can maximize them both. These days, you can't maximize both. So we dealt with this with Sheldon Sampson. Me and his daddy was talking, played basketball his 9th grade year, but going into 10th grade, he shut basketball down and was a good basketball player. But football is now showing interest. That's who paying the bill. So if football is showing interest, then look, I'm gonna shift my focus to this. Now, if basketball come into play and they start offering in basketball, then I got
That's
now
different.
that's
Or you
different.
start playing on the shoe circuit.
Yeah,
So like Tre'Davious Green, for example, I think he's a unique.
yeah,
That's a unique situation.
mm-hmm.
6'7", 6'8", dominant in football,
Mm-hmm.
dominant in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
How do you go about educating a kid like that and his parents on what sport he should put his primary focus on? Because
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you, I'm really confused and really torn on what sport he's
Right.
should be really putting his focus on.
Right. So
at
I
this
told,
point.
yeah. So I told his mom, and his mama was talking, and I told her, I was like, at his size, when you show up on the football field, everybody like, who the hell is that? When you show up in the basketball court, it's like, dang, he big, but basketball
that's normal.
6'7"
That's
is
normal.
That's
That's the
normal.
norm.
You used to seeing it. So it's like that alone to show you once you get to college, the NFL scouts going, man, who the hell is that? The NBA coaches are gonna be like, okay, they're gonna look for something, what makes you stand out amongst other tall 6'7". And I ain't that knowledgeable in the basketball world, but I do know at 6'7", you know what I'm saying? That's
the
not
norm.
Yeah, that's the norm. So my conversation to mom was like, if he do both at LSU, if you go to LSU and do both sports, all right, after freshman year, you're gonna know which one is gonna be that one. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, now you got to choose. You got to choose which one I'm gonna put more focus on. So you may have to make a decision by sophomore year.
Yeah.
Am I gonna play? Because you ain't gonna play both sports all 4 years.
No, ain't no way
3
in the
years.
world unless you Deion Sanders.
Yeah,
Just a freak of an
Right.
athlete.
And then
You
the
know
way
what I'm saying?
training is going now is like,
Yeah.
I can't, during the offseason, LSU football is grinding. During
Yeah.
the offseason, LSU basketball season
don't
is
stop.
grinding. I can't miss that. You know what I'm saying?
There's somebody else getting the edge on you.
Exactly.
Tasman Mitchell came on a podcast and we talked about Tre'Davious. He said, I think he told me something along the lines of football pays the bills, like you said. He was like, so whenever Brian Kelly get done with him, then we'll get him on the basketball court. He said, but if you grow 2 or 3 more inches, we gotta have another conversation.
Definitely. And my advice to him, if you grow another 2 to 3 inches, is like, you got to be smart.
Yeah.
In this world, bro, and no matter what coaches say, and I love LSU coaches, the football coaching staff to death, but they understand.
Yeah, you gotta understand.
If he grow,
bro,
you gotta let him go. You gotta let him do it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Because I mean, at the end of the day, he's gonna be more of a liability at 6'10" on the football field.
Exactly. Because the thing is about these NFL scouts, you ain't gotta play football. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta play football. They'll come take you straight off the basketball.
Ricardo Gathers,
exactly.
That played at Riverside. It didn't play a lick of football at Baylor, and was had a good career at Baylor. And then the Cowboys come scoop him up. I don't know if he's still. I know he was with the Cowboys for like 3 years. I don't know if he's still on the roster or what. But that's a prime example of what you're saying. Didn't play a lick of football in college, and got an opportunity with the Dallas Cowboys. Signed a contract.
Crazy, man. And it's like that. This day and age is a whole lot different. And like I say, they exposed to more, but very seldom we don't see a lot of that. A lot of Tre'Davious Greens.
Right. That's
So these other kids, you 6'2". I'm telling the daddy that the other day, his kid stopped playing football. Say he's a basketball player. His daddy say, man, he's a hell of a defensive guy, bro. I'm telling you. I say that tells you he's a DB. 6'2" at DB is a gold mine. Jordan Matthews 6'2". Everybody in the country wants you, man. 6'2" on the basketball court. Hey, he a little short. He a little undersized.
And I've dealt with this situation with 3 kids from my area. Kyron Lacey, who is at LSU right now. Colin Billiard, who just committed to LSU. Devontavian Martin, who when played at Washington State, then finished his career at Oklahoma State. All 3 of these guys played on the shoe circuit.
Right.
I think Devontavian Martin played on the Adidas circuit. Was good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a stud, but he was good.
Right.
Kyron played on the Under Armour circuit. Colin Billiard played on the Under Armour circuit. On the shoe circuit, they were regular guys.
Right.
Not that they couldn't probably go play college basketball somewhere.
Right.
They probably would have ended up going to play at a UNO, maybe Xavier. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's no knock to that.
Right.
But when they step on the football field, it's like, man, who is that kid?
1,000%.
Who is that kid?
Yeah.
And me, Kyron, and Devontavian Martin, and Colin Billiard, we laugh about it now. And it was like, boy, I had them hoop dreams. Man, I'm glad I listened. You know what I mean? So, it goes back to what you were saying. And I think I understand my son is like that. My son, 13, he won't put all his eggs in basketball. You know what I mean? And I try to explain to kids not to knock your dream. If that's your dream, I'm not saying don't pursue that. But at some point, when you get to a certain age, when you start getting to like 10th grade, especially going into that 11th grade year, you got to start being realistic with yourself and saying, can I really go play college ball at the next level?
Right. Right.
Is football? Does football give me a better opportunity to get a scholarship or
Mm-hmm.
go play at a bigger school? You got to be realistic with yourself, and I think that's what the kids got to do most. So, and the
The
parents,
parents.
they got to
And,
be more realistic.
and I always tell parents, do you want, like when they drop their kids off the train, oh, coach, if you can take it a little light on, do you want your son to have do you want to pay for school, number one? Well, nah, I ain't got the money to pay for school. Well, let us handle that.
Right,
Let us help you to tell you what's best for your kid.
right.
Because evidently you don't, if you're trying to balance 2 or 3 sports, you taking them all over the country to play AU basketball, leave it to people who understand it and who know it to help put them in position where you don't have to pay for school.
No doubt.
I told my group, so I did a Zoom call with some of my parents that play with our 7-on-7 organization about 2 years ago, Ro and I, and telling the parents, like, we've been doing this for a long time. We get nothing out of it but helping place kids. So if you call us and say, man, my son got offered by Louisiana College, I'm celebrating. I'm like, I'm relieved. Like, that's less money you got to come out your pocket with. Because I'm thinking about my own son, and you got a kid, so you understand if somebody offer free tuition and I got a chance to go over here, Louisiana College on a scholarship, or go walk on into this place and pay for school, I'm gonna tell him, like, look, you need to do this. If you just
Fact.
walk on, you have to get a job.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that's overlooked by a lot of parents. Like
Mhm.
the money that people like us save them on these free tuitions. You know what I'm saying? Like that's huge.
Because they need that guidance.
They definitely,
They need that guidance. So that brings me to my next question, bro. When kids are trying to pick a school,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we know this recruiting game gets wicked.
Yeah.
It could get very taxing mentally on the kid, on the family, and even if you're somebody that's helping them through that process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've helped a plethora of kids, over the years. How do you go about helping kids pick the right fit for them when it comes to picking a school, whether it's football or basketball, whatever sport?
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember. So I used one situation in particular. Jordan Matthews, right? I remember it was the coaching change with LSU,
Mhm.
and I remember LSU was heavily pursuing him, helping him through his process. His dad and I just going, bro. We went down to a T with the rosters. We had every college coach, well, we had every school defensive staff to put together their returning roster. Like,
Mhm.
what's your DB room gonna look like next year? And I just remember looking at Tennessee, how they formulated everything. They put it together. It was like, this kid is leaving, this kid is coming back, this kid is coming. Like, and they showed us, like, look, right now we only got about 6 or 7 guys in the room. Now we are smart. We do know. I'm telling the dad, like, look, they are it's still going out and getting other
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
But if you tell me that you got 4 or 5 guys returning and 3 of those 5 that were freshmen last year played, then at me, if I'm coming in as a corner, it's like, not that I can't beat, because that's what coaches are trying to use against you. Well, you don't feel like you could beat them out.
Mhm.
Well, are you telling those kids that I'm gonna come in and beat them out? It's like, nah. It's like, so I'm telling them, like, look past what the coaches are saying and do your homework on the roster. Do your work on who's returning, who played what, and you got to be honest with yourself. Is this guy good? You know what I'm saying? If I'm going to Bama and Kool-Aid McKinstry is a starter as a true freshman, I'm watching Kool-Aid and saying, yeah, I'm gonna have to sit for 2 years. That may not be the spot for me. Nick, on the other hand, will probably say, well, you just got to wait your turn. It's like, well, it's a catch-22 to wait your turn. Because if I got to wait my turn, I could have been at Louisiana Tech and been a freshman All-American getting film, and now my name is, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like a catch-22 to it. Only thing I don't like about that, because what's starting to happen is those guys who are going to those smaller schools, they still hitting the transfer portal and leaving out. You know what I'm saying? Which treats the UL now, the ULs and the La Techs as junior colleges, pretty much.
That's exactly what it is, bro.
But it's their fault. Because if you can't find resources to get NIL for these kids, then you can't blame a kid that's getting NIL offers from bigger schools.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that was a conversation I had with one of those staffs is, y'all need to figure out something NIL related. It was like, oh, we just won't have those conversations with the kids. Like, you ain't got to have it. Somebody else going to have it in the future.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But just helping, making sure that those kids, and then NIL has become, prevalent.
It's on the forefront.
Yeah. So whenever we talking helping go through the process, parent may say, this school offered us this on NIL, this school offered us this. That's going to let you know how much they see in your kid. If you got one school saying, well, yeah, we ain't got nothing on NIL, you got another school saying we got X amount, is like, that show you that's the investment.
How big of a deal is it to you when it comes to the conference they're playing in? Because, I mean, let's be real. when you're at a school like LSU, right,
Mm-hmm.
you're going against the best of the best.
Right.
Not only in the game, but in practice,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you go to a school like Tulane, no knock to
Mm-hmm.
Tulane,
Mm-hmm.
great program. Did they think last year beat a school like USC in the Cotton Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
They're trending in the right direction. They had a couple guys get drafted this year. Tajay Spears, most
Mm-hmm.
notable, got picked in the 3rd round by the Titans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, does the conference that they're playing in matter to you when you're helping them through this process?
Conference definitely matters if you're recruited by that conference. So if you get an SEC offers, if you get the Bamas and the LSUs and the Floridas and the Georgias, if they're offering you and you choose a smaller conference, then that's different. But if you don't have those offers, that if you only getting recruited by ACC, you know what I'm saying, smaller conferences, then it really don't, because SEC is the only one we'll say, yeah, SEC schools recruiting you,
Mm-hmm.
because the NFL personnel, SEC is like golden to them. They feel if you could come in SEC and play as a freshman, you're an NFL caliber player.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know for sure, I went to a SWAC school. I went to Grambling. You know what I'm saying? And I remember talking to a scout who came in when I was coaching at Grambling. And if you got a receiver at a SWAC school who run past a DB and catch the ball, you in the SEC, you'll be like, dang, he fast. Well, the scouts look at it different. If if you do that in the SWAC, they'll say, oh, this conference is slow. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't, because they're afraid to put tags on guys. Oh, he a first round to come. So it's not. I don't feel that it matters, because I think at the skill position is what for what,
Mm-hmm.
but it's it ain't about what we think. It's about what the scouts gonna say.
Right.
And if the scouts say this conference is better, we could say, well, nah, we just as good. But when that draft come and they taking all these guys that went to these big Power 5 conferences, and very seldom you're gonna have some of those other conferences sprinkled in there. But it's just how they look at it from the SEC. If you play in SEC, you pretty much a pro ready.
All right. So let me ask you this. Let's take somebody like Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Travis Hunter was the #1 player in the country coming out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
So he plays at Jackson State, and he didn't even play the whole season. I think
Mhm.
he might have played 4 or 5 games. And it was already saying that he was going to be a first or a second round pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Had Travis Hunter not been a #1 player in the country, say he was a 3-star,
Mm-hmm.
but he got the same talent, same skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think those scouts would have still put that same tag on it?
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think that was more that it's crazy that you say that, because that's something, is definitely something to look at. And I don't think so. And I think even with him choosing Jackson State and then going to Colorado, if because they could put a projection, but like we look at Kayshawn last year, how they did him. The projections say one thing, but then when it come down to the real, the NFL scouts going to let you know at draft day how they feel about you. You know what I'm saying? So we could see the projections on Hunter, and it may say first rounder, but did Jackson State move, help, or hurt him? You know what I'm saying? Did Colorado move, help, or hurt him? And that's one of the things that, we can't argue with the scouts. We
Right.
can't argue with personnel, because did he get challenged week in and week out at Jackson State? Did he get challenged by the Jamar Chases and the Justin Jeffersons of the world Saturday in, Saturday out? So they're going to say, well, he didn't go against it. We know he got the talent, but he didn't. His body of work don't look like, this kid here who's been going against, 4 and 5 stars every week, you know what I'm saying? The Devontae Smiths of the world. So your body of work looks different.
What if, because I can't remember if Jackson State played any big Power 5 schools in non-conference. Did they? When Deion was there? I can't.
Yeah, they did. Man, they did. They played one and they battled them. It wasn't no big time Power 5.
Yeah. So my question was about to be, because I've been an advocate of saying that, swag is not for everybody. It's for a certain type of kid,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I've been of the mind to say that if swag schools want to get some big time prospects that come to their school, which you're not gonna get all of them, but if you could get a couple here and there on your roster for each class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to start scheduling, Texas A&M,
Mm-hmm.
University of Texas, or TCU, or University of Arkansas,
Right.
in your non-conference. So when those scouts go look at that film, well, look, our 3 non-conference games, we played Arkansas, we played Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be tougher though, for the skill that is. So I'm thinking, if I'm a DB, so I play DB in the SWAC.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been easier for me to play DB at LSU
Mm-hmm.
when I was coming through.
Right.
You got this defensive end who running 4-3, who putting pressure on the quarterback.
Right.
So this is real life. If I'm at DB and I'm playing off man, and I got a first round projected defensive end on one side, a third round on the other side.
I'll cover that long.
Bro, Georgia DBs with that defense they had, you ain't got to cover them but 2.5 seconds. He ain't got time to run no 15-yard comeback.
But the flip side to that is, right? So it's been a knock on Bama DBs over the last 6-7 years. Like this one, and I've been hearing a lot of coaches use this against Nick Saban and Bama in recruiting. They saying that Bama DBs don't pan out in the league. Right? And it's because they don't have to cover that long. So they're saying that shit, you can go get a 2-star, 3-star to go play at Bama because he only got to cover for a second, maybe 2 seconds, and the ball coming out. What's your response to that?
I agree. But it is all about fit in the league too. You know, certain defensive schemes, if you don't fit, you're gonna look like trash.
Right.
You know, that's why you see a lot of guys who flourish when they go to different type of, you know, like Chauncey going to Johnson, who goes to Philly and blossom. You know what I'm saying? It's like he could have did the same thing. You look at Tyron when he was with Kansas City, and you look at him when he come to New Orleans. It's like certain defenses are fit for certain type of players. So I think that's it. Going back to that question about helping find fit. That was another question with the high school kids, like what type of asking questions like that. Well, what type of defense do y'all run? How do you see me implementing your defense? If LSU would have told Colin Jackson, yeah, we're gonna put you in man-to-man, and we're gonna let you cover if that's not his strength, then it's like I don't know if this is gonna work.
Right. But kids don't even ask them kind of questions.
All they ask is what the NIL look like.
What number I'm wearing?
What number I'm wearing? You feel me? So but yeah, so just thinking about the position, and with the SWAC, I know I feel like I'm bouncing. But with the corners coming from the smaller schools, I remember at Grambling, man, I'm in coverage one play and drive on the out route. He turns up field run. I hear the crowd screaming. I'm thinking the play over with. This quarterback that goddamn hit three reverse fields, and he's shaking, and it's like the ball's still in play. So it's like I'm covering for goddamn 10 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that at those schools you don't have as quality in the interior. You know what I'm saying?
That's where it matters.
That's the difference. So every time we'll play the Oklahoma States and the Nevadas, the Pittsburghs, because those are teams that we played when I was coming through. I seen no different from the skill position. Actually, I saw it being pretty much easier because they were like robots, in my opinion. And SWAC, you got, man, they getting it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I started seeing the double moves. They killing it, and it's like because they got time to do that. Because that quarterback, he out there, 5'10" quarterback who out there scrambling around, he giving them time. So I feel that because with the league is pretty much it's matchups. There's a lot of man covering, and a lot of those guys, like you say, from Bama, they don't have to cover that long. So you asking this guy to cover this 15-yard comeback, or this in the NFL, you probably got a 22-yard out route. You know what I'm saying? He ain't used to covering that deep because these 4 and 5 stars getting to the quarterback.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts. I know you've dived into the agency space, man, and you've been helping kids with that. And just like recruiting, far as getting the kid to come to a school, getting a kid to pick the right agency is another tall task. Yeah. Right? And so many people are so misinformed and not educated on this process, right? And you got a lot of snakes in the game.
Oh man, a lot.
You got a lot of snakes in the game. Talk about that, man. Getting in the agency space and how to guide kids and what advice you can give people that might watch this podcast, man, about how to find the right agency and what to look for, man, when you're trying to wean out the snakes from the genuine people.
Right. Well, the first thing I would say, do your research. You know what I'm saying? Do your research when these agents pursuing you. And I always tell guys this: they're not gonna pursue you just because your name just popped up in their head.
Right.
They've done research. They've talked to scouts. You know what I'm saying? They've heard, oh, he may be a first-round draft pick. It may be a second-round draft pick, or he's maybe a draftable kid. So asking those questions like, what is it that you're hearing? The first thing I would say though is if you early on as a freshman. It's a small group of kids that are freshmen that may have to entertain agents or listening to agents, but get established first. You know what I'm saying? Get established first. I remember going through the process with Damone Clark. Damone didn't meet with an agent in person until maybe late junior year. You know what I'm saying? Right now, these days, I'm finding kids that are freshmen who's meeting with everybody in the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so when these guys are hitting them up, even myself included, like, do your research. Who is this guy? I'm sit down and talk to him. And I told a parent this the other day. I don't want to talk directly to the kid.
Right.
I want to talk. Who's helping you with your process? If they tell me that G is helping, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to somebody who's mature enough, who's gonna understand the talk that I'm talking. Then at the same time, I don't want to feel like I'm distracting you from focusing on ball. So I don't want to go directly to a kid. Hey, look, man, let's meet. I want to talk to your parent. Hey, look, let me meet with your parents. Let me talk to your parents.
That's a clear red flag to
It's
me.
a red flag. Yeah,
Like
definitely.
if you just trying to meet with the kid and ain't trying to meet with his parents or whoever helping him with his process, that's a clear indication of a red flag.
It's a red flag because it's like it's easy to persuade. And I will say this, like it's like, and I'll use a female in play. If I come to a female with you know with an open wallet, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna be easy to impress her. Same thing with these kids. If I go to them and the first thing I'm talking about is my wallet, what I could do for you, then get to know this kid, get to know who his parents are, who helping him with the process, educate them. You know what I'm saying? So I felt that it was a need for me in this space because of the lack of education. You know what I'm saying? I remember asking one of my guys, and this is one thing. It kind of made me feel bad because I'm talking to one of my guys that I was training who was in the NFL, and I asked him. I said, "Yo, who's your financial advisor?" "Oh no." I said, "Who's doing your marketing?" "I'm gonna have to call my agent and find out." Bro, you should be in charge of. You should know everything. Like I tell my guys, if something happened to me, like with Russ, Damone, if something happened to me, they good because they know everything that we got going. They know who to contact for this, who to contact for that. Because at some day, like if they call me and say, "Look, man, I need you to pay the speeding ticket." If I've been doing everything for them, because that's what these guys are used to. They're used to having people in their circle that'll do whatever they ask. "Oh, pay the speeding ticket for me," and then something happened to them, and you out the league, you transition,
They're handicapped.
and you handicap, you can't do nothing for yourself. So it's like let somebody, and this will be my advice to the kid: find somebody that you trust to help you with the process. That's knowledgeable, that know how to speak to people, that's done it before, or that has some type of relationships where they can help weed out those people for you.
Yep.
Because it's gonna be hard for them to weed them out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got some agents
Because they coming with the bells and whistles.
yeah,
Everybody.
yeah. And it's like that ain't what this business is about. That ain't what being a pro athlete is about. You do what you're supposed to on the field. You can have the bells and whistles yourself. You know what I'm saying? You can be able to take care of that part yourself. And you'll know in this time because it's gonna be money coming from marketing. It's gonna be money coming from you coming to do this little talk show. Like you're gonna have money coming from different angles. So you're gonna be able to have it yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, just looking for those red flags, like you said, with the guys that's coming with the directly to the kid, red flag. Or if they come directly to him, talk to him. And if they ask you, like, who's helping you with the I want to talk to them. And that lets them know that they respect what you got going on the field. You know what I'm saying? Especially the black athletes. Because it's pretty much every guy that I got that's playing pro ball come from a family. They the first generation.
Yep.
So when they get that first check, they like, Damone call like, "Bro, is this real?"
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I would have misguided him, you know what I'm saying? I'd be standing there when you get that first check with my hand out.
Yeah.
He respect and he trusts me. So it's like I can't let him down. So I can't let my guys down. I don't need nothing. I don't want nothing. I'm good. That's why I get out there and hustle and grind the way I do. But it's like finding somebody in your circle that you trust, that when you out there playing on the field, they take care of that for you.
I see a lot of, and I see it in the NBA, and I'm starting to see it more in the NFL. When guys are going into that second contract, they're firing their agents.
Oh yeah.
What is the reason behind that more often than not?
Right, because of the panic zone, I think. And I've been in a process where a couple of my guys done fired their agent. I've been in that position, so I know it's a panic.
When you say panic that you're not gonna get paid.
Yeah, that
what you feel like you deserve.
What you work. So you look at Saquon, for example. Pretty sure every agent probably telling Saquon, "Hey, look, I would have got that deal done," and rightfully so. You may have some agents.
What agency?
I forget who. I don't know who Saquon with, but you got some agents who saying, "Look, man, we could have got that deal done," and it's like, well, damn, I left money on the table. But you may got some guys who contracts were minimized, like they didn't maximize their value. You know what I'm saying?
But see, I feel like Saquon or whoever's in his camp helping him through this process should have enough common sense to say that so. And I know he's I ain't gonna say he's the best running back in the league, right? But we all know that the running back value has went down tremendously over the last decade. Eckler for the Chargers, he ain't getting paid. There's another running back it's on the tip of my tongue. He's been trying to get a contract this offseason. He hasn't gotten paid. So it's like, can you really blame your agent for what the way the NFL is moving right now? They feel like we can do this by running back by committing.
Right. That's just and that's a position, and that was a small example. Um, you may have an agent who's done it before. You know what I'm saying? Who've negotiated, and and I'm not swaying in my belief because I work with some guys who've done some tremendous second deals.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that I'm with somebody who could get a second deal done. But I remember sitting with my guy and his family, and it was like he's always told his mom, when I get the second contract, you good. But what if the second contract is a 1-year deal that don't make mom good or don't make family good? So it's like, well, can my agent really negotiate it? Now, I feel that every agent should have an opportunity, but that's somebody's life. So, in my opinion, if I'm working with a guy and he say, well, look, Ken, on the second contract, if I'm an agent, I'm gonna go with somebody that's more experienced, who's done it before. Then I feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, we always tell kids, and you probably tell your kids the same thing. You got to always do what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if this kid is doing what's best for him, then it ain't no loyalty in his business. It ain't no loyalty with these college coaches. These coaches may tell you, yeah, you're gonna be a freshman, you're gonna get number 2, and you get there, and this guy that took a head coaching job somewhere else. It's no loyalty. So at the end of the day, all we got is our word, and for every individual, you got to do what's best for you. What's gonna make you feel the best? What's gonna put you in the best position? Now, if it don't work out for you, then you take that L.
Right.
But for this agent, you can't sympathize with this agent
Mm-hmm.
because his agent gonna go out and recruit the next guy.
Right.
The agent gonna go out and get another guy. You can't go get another contract.
But how we know that's not going on with Saquon right now? Like how we know that, other agencies is just trying to manipulate him to fire these and to come with them, knowing that that's just what the market is right now with running back.
Right.
They're just not paying them.
Oh, they're gonna tell him that. They're gonna use anything that you can. It's like a female. Hey, look, your boyfriend should be taking you out on dates every Saturday. And you like, yeah,
You
you're
with
right.
me.
You know what I'm saying? If you
I'll
was
be
me, I'll
taking
take you
out
out every night.
Friday and Saturday.
And then you get with her, you ain't taking out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so they gonna use that. You know what I'm saying? But you may have an agent that probably could get something done. You know what I'm saying? Like you got agents that like running backs that got paid before. But what they're afraid of is.
But I think Ty Gurley was the last one that got paid a substantial amount of money for his second contract. If I'm not mistaken, I think Ty Gurley was the last one. But look what you see happening though.
Mm-hmm.
Once Ty Gurley got that money, start breaking down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Zeke got that money, start breaking down.
Yep.
And I think the NFL is starting to kind of. It's been a trend. Is Alvin Kamara
because they work with each other. Hey, look, don't do it. Don't take the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they gonna all work because they know if you pay Saquon, then you set the market for this for running back. So now this other team gotta come in and they gotta pay their running back.
So all these GMs and front offices, they all in cahoots together.
They meeting with each other. They have an owners meeting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so they don't want it to turn into that. If you pay this running back, hey, look, man, we lost this amount on this guy. Let's try to keep it. Let's keep the max at this. You know what I'm saying? And like we said, it ain't no loyalty in this business from that standpoint, from the agent standpoint, from what. So at the end of the day, Saquon, I saw the interview where he say, he may just not have to show up. I mean, he may not show up, and
he said he is considering missing the whole season. Now I don't know if that's cap.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you're willing to do that, it's like you respect him for that, but at the same time, you're not bigger than the league. And you look at what happened to T.O., you look at what happened to Ocho.
They're going to find the shit out of him.
They're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way to make sure that you're not bigger than the league. And which I do get I get both sides, but the business side is you can't miss your paychecks now. You never jeopardize your money. And the thing is, if you do right by, you know what I'm saying?
It's not NBA money.
Nah. And it's like once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All these dudes who I was watching Dez Bryant the other day, and I just looked, man, Dez Bryant still could have been playing, but it get to a point where you feel like you're bigger than the league, and they got a way of showing you not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at when the whole little deal came out with the guys kneeling for the player, just like, when you done Antonio Brown, when you slow down,
Eric Reed,
that was the statement. When you slow down, when you're no longer good at what you do, we don't need you no more. When Tyreek Hill slow down, what happens? What's gonna happen when he can't run fast no more? Every problem that he have is now magnified. Oh yeah, we're gonna look for this. Antonio Brown been had issues, but because he was running
overlooked
fast,
it because he was top 3 in the league.
You know what I'm saying? So with Saquon, you can't feel like you better. Le'Veon Bell, I'm gonna turn this money down. You don't get $20 million back. You'll never get that back. So you could hold out for a year and you end up messing yourself up.
And he did.
Why
Why do you think before we get our money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do everything we need to do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we're respectable. We show up on time. Um, we're a great teammate. We're coachable, right?
Right.
Soon as we get our money, though, bro, we go to posting Instagram live videos with
Mm-hmm.
guns. We're in the club, throwing bottles down our throat with everybody watching. We getting on social media. We saying all kind of belligerent things. We
Mm-hmm.
get humbuggish. Why, after we get our money, we start acting a fool?
Man, it's hard for one of us to stay humble, bro. It's easy to say it, but you take a kid, like take a kid from South Baton Rouge, where I'm from. Well, I'm not from South Baton Rouge, but you
Right.
take a kid from South Baton Rouge in the trenches that never had nothing. This kid trying to make it. When you give him that money, it's gonna magnify those things that's always been there. He just been trying to get to the money, so he's gonna revert back to his old ways. You know what I'm saying? So I feel that it's no way to escape. You know what I'm saying? In a sense of, if he ain't got the right, you can even have the right person in your corner. I'm pretty sure a lot of these guys got good people in their corner, but
not all the time.
Yeah, once you get that money, the first thing they say is, "Well, I don't, people gonna be scared to mess up around them." You know what I'm saying? If I'm mentoring the guy and he'd have got 50 million and this guy taking care of me, I'm like, "Well, yeah, man, you don't need to be doing this." He's like, "Man, shut the hell up before I fire you." And I'm like, "Yeah, keep doing it." You know what I'm saying? I can't. Right. So it's like they become a god to the people around them,
Yeah.
and nobody wants to correct them. So it's like it's only gonna magnify and get worse. And it's like, how could you tell this kid not to go buy this expensive car? He got the money. You know what I'm saying? He got what every person of our color dream of, and that's being wealthy and having financial, generational wealth. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to hide it. And it's like we always say, man, he a fool, man. If I did this, like I use this example. I remember dealing with one of my pro guys. He told me when he got drafted, bro, I just want to make the team. I just want to make the 53. Right? I'm like, yeah, that's good. Make the 53. I just want to get, man, if I could get about 10 snaps a game, I'll be all right. He started getting 10 snaps a game. Bro, man, they ain't throwing my way. I'm getting about 15 snaps, but I ain't getting no targets. Then they start targeting. I ain't getting targeted enough. Start getting, man, I'm trying to get 1,000 yards. Get 1,000 yards. Man, I need that bag, bro. I know. And it's like, so you use that to analogy. Enough is never enough. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like whenever you finally get what you need, is like we see from our standpoint, because we go out and work, we like, bro, do you understand what you have? To them, it's like, man, they still sleeping on me. It's like, bro, you in the league. You know what I'm saying? You look at Ja Morant, you getting paid, but that's not enough for him. It's something that he's missing. It's something that these guys are missing. You know what I'm saying? That they feel like they gotta go out and, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, and maybe you're right. Maybe if I was a highly touted prospect coming out of high school and I went played at a big school and I got drafted and I had millions of dollars at 21, 22, 23 years old, maybe I wouldn't be the same person I am. You know, Tasman Mitchell talked about this.
Yeah, you'll be a different person, but I'll be a different person.
Probably so.
I could say that. I could right now at my age, I'm 36 and I still buy shoes. You know what I'm saying? I still go out and buy the ones and if I'm 21, man, I'm closet may be full of designer stuff, and I can say at this age because I appreciate a dollar, but you know how it is. You get that check, you go to casino and hit for
Right.
10 grand.
Right.
Oh, I ain't work for this. I'm gonna go blow this.
Right.
I'm gonna go take a trip.
Right.
And that money don't mean as much. So
Right.
that's what these kids are dealing with. 21. So we looked at it at a scale. So with the pro guys, we do like these financial literacy things, and they say athletes. If you look at from the financial, athletes start at the top, right? And it goes down as they get older, their income. We start at the bottom, and as we get older, our income go up. So it's like the mindset is, if I start off at the top financially and I'm living like I'm at the top, then eventually as I get lower, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you look at it in that perspective and say they starting off and never really have to work, start off at the bottom. So we know we don't want to go back to the bottom.
Right.
These guys never been at the bottom. Right. So they, in their minds, shit, I ain't got to work, man. What you talking to? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so they become on top of the world because of finances.
And when you talk about people like Larry Fitzgerald, I love listening to Larry Fitzgerald in interviews and hearing his story and just how he goes about his business. Why more kids can't be like a model citizen like Larry Fitzgerald? He the same kid he was when he came out of Pittsburgh as a first rounder, as he is now as I think he 37, 38, something like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's talking about how he saved his money, how he invested his money, how he didn't make any stupid investments, how he told no to a lot of his family members, and he only made sure the immediate people in his family was able to benefit off of what he
Right.
made in the league and off endorsements, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why we don't have more stories like that, though?
And I would say, the circle that you have, like if you, I'm pretty sure if we go back and watch how he was raised, things that he was taught at an early age. See, we know now. So with your kid probably won't have those same issues
Right.
that you would have probably had because you see it from a different spectrum. So you're gonna tell your son at 13 years old, hey, look, if I give you $100, this is how you manage it. You got a kid who probably never had $100 at your son's age.
on an hour.
You know what I'm saying? This kid, so we look at our kids and say our kids are pretty much spoiled because we know. So we're going to teach them a whole lot different. I think guys like Larry Fitzgerald, it's not a lot of them because he probably got parents who probably were financial. I mean, and I don't know his situation,
Right.
but you got some kids. I got a bunch of kids that I train that go private school. Who parents are teaching them certain thing about finances, or they had another son that probably played pro ball that understand finances or mistakes they made then they're not gonna make with their second kid.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I think when it's first generational kid, I think those are the kids who usually have it hardest because they got the pressure on from family. I've seen it. I've seen the uncles and the cousins. Hey man, look, man, I'm trying to start this business, man. You wanna, and it's tough for a kid. You got some kids who are good guys who'll be like, look, I can't give. They may ask for 10,000, knowing that they number is 5, but they gonna ask for 10 to see if they could, how much they could get. Look, I can't do 10. I do 5, and it's like, damn, that 5 was still a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Do you find yourself giving your guys advice that's going to the league, that's in the league now, about how to say no?
hmm I'm the no man for a couple of them. You know what I'm saying? So some of them,
You the big bad one.
so some of them lean on me. Look, man, let me call Ken and see if, or let me call my financial guy, and I'll be the person they call and be like, look, man, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't put yourself in a position because if you do, you'll be right back with your family. You know what I'm saying? You'll be right back living in the house with them because it's unforgiving league and ain't no loyalty.
NFL stands for not for long.
I watch my dog, man. I watch Russ. I'm at the playoff game when they play the Cowboys. I'm watching. I'm always paying attention to my guys when I'm watching. He go off on a stretcher. That could have easily been.
Remember that,
could have
man.
easily been it. And I'm there in person. I'm in the hospital with him that night.
I remember
Do you
that.
know how many? Do you know how many personnel from his organization was at that hospital?
None.
Zero. I'm there. His mama there. His fiance there. His daddy there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so it's an unforgiving league. So I think our people, don't look at that part of it. Man, these guys are jeopardizing their life to do this, and they don't even get the full benefit because all these head injuries, all these concussions, broken bones. When they get up to 50 years old, yeah, they gonna need that money. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna need that to take care of these doctor bills and flying out because they ain't no longer making money.
Right.
They still got to fly across the country to go see the specialist.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we overlook that part of it.
And that's why I'm so big on kids that I've been helping through their process, bro. When you get to college, and I try to explain this to a lot of them, and some of them get it, some of them don't. Man, don't just go to college and just be an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Man, go talk to these different people in the building and
Right.
rub elbows and have conversations and build relationships and do appearances and be a respectable citizen
Right.
in that building and out of that building at all times in that community that you're
That's
playing
it.
for. You know what I mean? Because you one player away from being a regular person.
That's it. That's
You
it.
know what I mean? And you always got to be thinking about 10 years down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And everything you doing right now going to determine how your life going to be in 10 years.
That's it.
And guess what? It might not be football.
Right.
So, but if you do everything you're supposed to do right now, you know, the trainers, people in personnel, boosters, fans, whatever, whoever it may be, business owners that y'all might go do appearances at, man, be respectable. Have your pants pulled up,
That's it.
right? Yes, sir, no, sir. Firm handshake,
Mhm.
eye contact, right?
1,000%.
You do those things, something happen to you tomorrow, somebody gonna make sure you good.
Yeah, definitely.
Somebody gonna make sure you good. And so that's why I'm piggybacking off of what you say, bro, because, a lot of kids, they just relying on the ball.
Yeah.
And that should just be the tool. If you make it to the league, like we always say, that's laying out.
But the percentage of those guys, I've trained over 1,000 guys in my time training, and probably 10 guys out of the 1,000 have made it to the league.
And how many they made it to that second contract?
Only 2.
That
know what I'm
percentage
saying?
gets smaller and
It
smaller.
gets
So
smaller and smaller.
like he got a bunch of kids that they made it.
And there's a lot of them that were good that didn't get to injury, bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? So, like all of those things are definitely, like if we say 10 years in the league is a long time.
Yeah.
You come out of high school.
That should be about 3 contracts, maybe 4.
Yep. Yep, 3. But if you look at the stats gonna say the average NFL career is what 3.5, right at 4 years, and that's right before that pension hit. So if you say the average 10 years in the league is a long time, most of these guys coming out of school, out of college at 21 years old, even if you play 10 years, that's 31, 32 years old. I'm 36 right now, so that means you'd have played a long. Like you still got so much life to live. If you mess up in that span, man, you're gonna be back working for somebody, even if you do make it to 10.
Right.
So if you don't make it to 10 at 24, 25 years, you'll be out.
Right.
So if you don't manage that money, if you don't build those relationships, if you don't utilize those resources, then yeah. So like you looking at guys at LSU, you think LSU boosters are these business owners that come in, hey, look, I'm so-and-so, I own this business. No, you got to go to them. You got to put yourself in these positions to meet these people.
Exactly.
That way, if you make a play on a Saturday, I remember him. He came and shook. He was at our charity event. He was, hey, look, man. And then if you so happen to make it pro, now you're talking business with these people. But so many guys don't. I mean, and you can't knock the ones who don't have a lot of personality. But if you got a personality, you got to maximize that.
Yeah.
You got to talk to people.
No
You got to
doubt.
use it.
No doubt, bro. No doubt.
Got to use it.
The last thing I want to talk about with you, bro, is 7-on-7 football. So it has turned into like AAU basketball in a sense, right? When I was coming up, 7-on-7 wasn't even prevalent.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I remember about 7, 8 years ago, the only 7-on-7 team in Louisiana was the Bootleggers, right? Now you have maybe about 15 to 20 organizations in Louisiana and each state,
right,
with so many different 7-on-7 organizations. It seems like if you got 1,000 people in a room, half the room like 7-on-7, the other half the room hate it.
Right.
What's your stance on it?
I think if you're using it for the right reason, like me and you always talk about, much respect to your organization.
Much respect to yours too, bro.
If you're doing it for the right reason, it should never be no beef. And I know when we first started, it probably was a little, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you don't know. We didn't know each other.
Yeah,
so it's like,
your intention.
Yeah, so it's like, well, damn, he stepping on my toes. Is like, but once you get to know, I remember telling Jordan, like, look, man, I need to talk to G, bro. I want to talk to him. And it's like, because you respect, when you see how kids move, you see it from a different perspective, and I'm at a point now, me and Rohan David, we talk about this all the time. When you do right by the kids, like it'll show. You know what I'm saying? If our intentions for this is to say the kids in Baton Rouge area, to help and promote them and to help them get to the next, then we ain't got to worry about that. But if our goal is to be the #1 team in Louisiana, then now we're gonna find ourselves cutthroat people. We're gonna, hey man, G, let me going behind your back and reaching out to your players and this and that, and then we figured out like we talked about it on the phone the other day. We hadn't won a championship at a tournament yet, but we've had this much success. So is it about the trophies are for the organization? The success is for the kids. You know what I'm saying? And the families. It's like, so what's our goal? What's your reason for doing it? And it's like, I feel that it's like you said, for the people who don't believe in it, we probably agree. We probably say it's a love-hate relationship. But what's the benefit? So I'm always saying if it's a benefit, let's whatever this benefit is, let's stick to these core values of the benefit. But if the negative, if somebody say, well, I don't like it because they let kids just go crazy and talk noise to one another, pushing and this or that, then that negative, we not gonna fact, hey, we not taunting, do your celebrations with your guys, but make it brief. Do what you could do on a Friday night. You can't celebrate on Friday night, but for the game of 7-on-7, you could do your little dance, but come to the sideline and do it. You could celebrate with your team, but come happily handshake. Don't overdo it. Don't take the ball. You catch interception. You catch interception and you throw the ball and then go turn a backflip as you turn it. It's like, don't do that. I was at a camp talking to Steeples, the DB coach at LSU, and one of my kids catches an interception. Steeples don't know this one of my kids. Catches an interception, throw the ball at the quarterback, and go turn a backwards flip. He said, what the hell is wrong with this kid? And I'm like, that shifted my mindset to say, we got to make sure we draw those lines and those boundaries to say, this is for 7-on-7 purposes. When you get back to your high school, but so me and Ro talked about it, was like, we just won't allow it. They may think, oh, it's boring, or they don't let us have fun. It's like, but what's your ultimate goal? So we're going to be with that 50% we're gonna hear both sides. The 50% that hate it, the 50% that like it. The ones who hate it, I gotta hear it because I don't want that to be an a reflection of what we allowing to happen. You know what I'm
No
saying?
doubt, no doubt. When you started F3, how long ago?
2019, I want to say 2018, COVID year.
Yeah,
COVID year was
yeah,
the first year.
yeah. I think we started at the
The
same
same year,
time.
same
Yeah,
year,
yeah, yeah.
same year.
And just talk about how you've been able to build that organization, bro. Having Jarvis Landry attached to it, and how many age groups y'all got?
Uh, five,
Five
age
bro.
groups.
Like that gotta be a whirlwind.
Yeah.
To have to manage.
Right.
And you the director.
Yeah.
And I'm a director for Louisiana Elite, so I understand.
Definitely.
I'm only dealing with 2 age groups.
Right.
So I can only imagine with 5
Right.
age groups. Man, talk about being able to impact
Mm-hmm.
and inspire all those different age groups in that Baton Rouge area, man.
Yeah.
And how gratifying that is for you, bro.
Oh yeah, it's great, bro. And I'll be wrong if I say I did it all myself. You know what I'm saying? Having the right people. I know we talked about retention of staff.
Yep.
Got a lady, Miss Anderson, Miss Christina Anderson.
Oh man, she's your principal.
She was a principal.
She's phenomenal.
But this
She's
lady
phenomenal.
makes my job so much easy. Having Rohan David, who's is zero tolerant. Like, so you got the good guy, the bad guy. Rosa, phenomenal. Yeah, it's a balance. So it's like, I don't have to yell. I don't have to fuss. So that makes my job a whole lot easier. Ro gonna make sure that these guys are not, like, if they over there taunting, dancing and this or that, he's gonna let them know when they're wrong. And it's got to a point where they already know expectations. So he don't even have to yell. You know what I'm saying? So having a Rohan David, having a Christina Anderson, having an Aaron Sutton, who's an ex-military guy. Bro, I remember. Athletic director. So we go to a tournament, bro. Sutton will probably laugh, but I was teasing the kids on his team because all of them had their book sacks lined up. Now you talking all these kids are 3-4 star recruit, 5-star recruit. All they bags are lined up in a line at a tournament. We saying a prayer before a game. We on the radio on a Sunday, championship Sunday. He got gospel music playing on the radio. And at first it's like, bro, these kids gonna hate it. But then you look at the bigger picture. What message are we sending?
Here you go.
You know what I'm saying? For 10U, having a coach who's passionate about coaching kids. You know what I'm saying?
With no hidden agenda.
You know, because in this space you can't have egos. And that was one thing that I said I got to make sure, because I won't do it forever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get it started, find the right people, but having guys who are really passionate about helping the kids, who don't have egos. Tyrone Pierre, who became a football coach not long ago, who was aspiring, Samaj dad, who was aspiring to be a football coach. I told Ro, say, look, man, I see it. He got a youth organization, but he's aspiring to be a football coach. Bro, this is real talk. I told all my coaches, I said, if I can't help you to matriculate in coaching, then I'm not the right person you should be with. Or if you're not aspiring to grow as a coach, then you can't coach with F3. You know what I'm saying? So watching Tyrone go from being a youth football coach to I go watch Samaj play on a Friday night, Tyrone on the sideline with a headset. He's coaching high school football now. You know what I'm saying? Who never played football for real.
He was a track guy.
Yeah. But teaching him the game, now he could train us like he do. It's so much more to the 7-on-7. I felt like, I tell high school coaches this all the time. If you're a high school coach and all your assistant coaches don't aspire to be where you at as the head coach, then you got the wrong staff. But so many people got egos to the point, man, he trying to take my job. That's what you should be. Nick Saban is Nick Saban because it's coaching tree.
And it's a way you go about it.
It's a way you go about doing it, yeah. So it's like if you're an offensive coordinator, your job should be learning as much from me, and I should be demonstrating what it's like to be a director. I should have other people starting 7-on-7 teams from not, like you say, as a way you go about doing it. Not coming back and say, look, man, I'm about to take this whole team and go start.
Right.
But you should be wanting to say, Coach, look, I feel like I'm at a point where I want to be a director. I'm trying to start my own team. It could be under the F3 umbrella.
Yep.
It could be like the bigger picture. But just saying that to say, if we not motivating with everything we do, if we're not motivating others to want to do that, or to come up, or you're not taking care of those guys to the point where you make them feel important with with what you're giving them to do. Like, if I got a 10U coach that's coaching 10U, I'm gonna let you coach that 10U. Now, if you coming back telling me we 0-3, man, we just got beat 60-0, then I got to find another 10U coach.
Right.
But if you come, man, we 3-0, we going to the quarterfinals, because I don't get to see all those games, but I get the reports. And if I'm looking at that app and I'm seeing that, like, yeah, we got the right thing going. Right. So the rules are gonna be from the 10U all the way to the 18U. We're gonna treat them all the same. You know what I'm saying?
And Man, I think that's why me and you connected like that, because
Mm-hmm.
you're preaching to the choir, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It's no better feeling than, when I get a kid from I don't know, Hammond, Louisiana,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he texts me during the season and he says, Coach G, what I learned playing DB with you guys this past 7-on-7 season
Mm-hmm.
has helped me this football season. It's been working,
Right.
and the coaches see a difference,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's no better feeling than that.
Uh,
It's no better feeling than hearing a parent appreciate, you taking their child on the road, feeding them,
mm-hmm.
putting them in a hotel, right? Pouring into them, mentoring them,
Right.
right? Man, it's no better feeling, bro.
Right.
Like, you cannot put a price on that feeling. I tell, like, my mom always asks me all the time. She say, "You don't get tired of being with all them kids all the time, going to camps, going to
Right.
tournaments?" Blah. I said, "No, ma." I said, "I know that's my purpose.
Right.
I know that's God's plan for my life,
Right.
right? And the feeling I get, it has its trials and tribulations too, of course,
definitely.
and that's with anything.
Definitely.
But it's like $1,000,000
Right.
when you see those kids seeing success from things that either you mentored them about, gave them advice about, uh, showed them,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it might have been, bro.
Right.
Like, you cannot. When I say you cannot put a price on that, you
Right.
can't put a price on it, bro.
Right. And I got a text. I got a phone call from a parent. It was like, look, they came from another organization, another foot. They played high school ball, but never dealt with 7-on-7. This parent told me, real talk. We played in the championship over in a tournament, in Thibodeau, and this parent told me after that tournament, this is why I brought my son to play for your organization. He's never won since youth football. Like, I said, it's 7-on-7. He was like, man, for him, because we lost the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Say for him to experience playing in a championship game, that's big for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it like, man, it's 7-on-7. But for that parent to see their kid playing in a championship or to be a winner, it's like, well, damn, I thought about it. It's like, well, we are teaching kids how to be a winner, how to strategize, how to game plan, how to take tendencies. Like, we teaching that. But the bigger picture, like you said, when they get to their high school, they're going to be so much more confident. They've won. They're going to hate to lose. They're going to be used to, on them Sundays,
The mindset.
winning. Hey, we know we're about to win this game. We're going to the championship. Now, I'll take a championship loss. We did a lot to get there. It's hard to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that means you won a lot of games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So the kids are used to winning. So when we show up, winning is the only option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
Of course, you don't like to lose, but it's like if you teaching those values, where these kids are starting to come together. Hey, look, and they're yelling at each other because one person may be slacking. You're talking about a bunch of 4- and 5-star recruits that's on the sideline upset with each other. It's like that breeds greatness. You got this 10U kid. That's one thing I like about having this many teams is you got these 10U kids. When they finish playing, they standing on the sideline with F3 on, so they part of it. I ain't gonna run them off the sideline and get out. Y'all part of it. So for them to be over there upset after the 18U lose, it's like, don't let this be y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So next year they moving up. This group moving up. This group moving up. And it's like, all right, now y'all finally get the chance to be coached by me and Ro. When you hit Team Juice, and it's like, well, these are expectations. Me and Ro, we look at Team Juice as they on their way out. Pretty much all them kids that already got their offers. You know what I'm saying? So they gonna uphold that standard themselves. Our focus is going to be on this 15U team who trying to get scholarship offers, on this 14U team who trying to be 15U, on this 10U kid who may have an attitude, a bad attitude, and want to play football. And we telling this kid, look, if you want to play football, we know we be seeing you on the sideline watching Juice, but in order to make it here, man, you got to clean up that. You know what I'm saying? So we see the full circle. Then we got like I say, having the right people is key.
And that's why y'all organization is first class, bro. And I be telling my coaching staff, like, man, I'm envious.
Yeah.
Of the way it's ran.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like, just the organization of it, the camaraderie. You can just tell, like, it's a family atmosphere.
No doubt.
And you just don't see that with a lot of 7-on-7 organizations, man. But before we go, we got to do Ken's favorites, man. Ken's favorites. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite football player of all time.
Asante Samuel.
What?
Yes, sir.
Man, cover 2, coach.
Asante Samuel. I was kind of undersized. I had dreadlocks, and when I was playing, he was the one getting it done. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got some guys, but I'm talking about people. My advice to my kids: I found somebody who I could emulate myself, and I'm not 6'2", so I'm not 4'3", I'm not Dion, so I'm a Asante Samuel. Favorite one.
It's crazy how his son faster than him.
Yeah, you're right.
Favorite movie of all time.
Whew, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go Little Giants.
Boy, that's a good one.
Little Giants,
That's
man.
a good one.
I saw myself in all them kids around
That's
the house
a
playing
good
football.
one.
Little Giants, man.
That's a good one. All right. Favorite sneaker all time?
Say
Sneakers.
sneakers. Jordan ones, low top. There's a new one because we ain't wear them.
Yeah, right.
If you'd have wore a pair of ones when you was coming to the school, man, what the hell you got on?
Right,
Boy,
right.
got skateboard shoes on, but Jordan ones.
Real talk. Favorite NBA player all time?
Look, Kobe. I was about to say LeBron. Kobe.
Gotcha. Favorite rapper all time?
Jay-Z.
That's my favorite rapper too. All right.
Jay-Z.
All right. Favorite comedian all time?
Kevin Hart.
Favorite place to visit?
Miami. I'm gonna say Fort Lauderdale.
You like
I
Fort
like
Lauderdale?
I like Cali. I just don't like the I like the West Coast. I just don't like the travel because I'm a person. If I'm there if I'm somewhere longer than 2 days, I'm ready to come home.
Right.
And I feel like going to Fort Lauderdale, I'm able to chill, relax, and it ain't that far away from home. It's a 20-minute flight.
Direct flight. You like Fort Lauderdale more than Miami?
I love Fort Lauderdale because when I look at vacation, I don't look to party.
Right.
Most of the time I'm with my wife, so
Right.
I don't look to party. I look to go somewhere because I do so much on a day-to-day basis. I want to go somewhere where I can really chill and not, eat good, rest, hang out like I sit out at the beach, but I just look for more relaxation.
Gotcha.
I feel like if I'm in South Beach, now it's times to go there. It's
moving fast.
but everything is fast. So it's like if I go in the room, if I'm in Miami and I go to the room, it's like I got to go back out. I got to find something else. It's this going on. But I like to, to chill for a lot of there.
Finish this sentence. If Ken wasn't involved with kids, what would Ken be doing with his life?
Driving trucks.
All over
Driving trucks. I stay local. I watched my daddy do it for a long time, all my life. I'd watch him, hustle and drive trucks, wake up in the morning. That's where I get my work ethic from. But I watched them drive trucks, and as a kid, man, I used to get all the little Walmart 18-wheelers. I had every one of them. I had about 20. I had my own little company as a kid. I used to bag the mugs in. I'm taking loads, driving on the floor. Man, I had a magic. I wanted my own trucking company. Still to this day, trucking company is the end goal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
That's lucrative too.
as a kid, bro, I had a whole yard. I had a whole fleet of trucks.
That's lucrative too,
Yeah,
bro.
but I was driving trucks.
Man, it's been a powerful podcast, bro.
Yeah.
I knew it was gonna be like that because just when me and you talk, it's always insightful. I always take something that you tell me, and I can apply it to my life.
No doubt.
That's the kind of people you want.
Definitely. Iron sharpen iron.
Involved with you in that space, especially with the kind of things that we doing, man.
Right.
Man, definitely got to get you back on in the near future.
Oh yeah, for sure, bro. For
Definitely.
sure. I appreciate you having me, bro.
Yeah.
And I say this, wholeheartedly, bro. What we do and the impact we make, it ain't a lot of people like us doing it.
No doubt.
Or if we do, it's people that steal our ideas. You know what I'm saying? So this is organic. This is, you know what I'm saying? It's from the heart. You ain't doing it to really just make money. And I feel that you can be blessed doing it. You know what I'm saying? You look at the pivot. You look at I Am Athlete is no different. Those guys just have a lot of relationships. And I see this thing blowing up, the same way those shows are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's organic, man.
Yeah. We always trying to keep elevating, man.
Definitely.
Man, all our viewers, please make sure y'all subscribe to the FanvVew podcast on Instagram, Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to the FanvVew TikTok. Make sure you subscribe to the G-Sportz Instagram page, the G-Sportz Twitter page, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube page, man. I'm at 22.9 thousand subscribers, man. I'm trying to get to 23. And I'm trying to get to 30 by 2024.
No doubt.
You know what I mean? That's my dog, Ken Anio. G-Sportz, man. We signing out.
It's DatBoyFred, host of FanvVew podcast. Tune into the NOTN app weekdays 3:30 for the FanvVew podcast. Go to NewOrleansTalkNetwork.com to watch more episodes of FanvVew podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and watch.
Step Construction is here for you with a brand new offer. We now provide affordable storage sheds. Stop wasting your money on overpriced storage units and portable containers. Step Construction can provide you with a custom shed that will fit your budget and storage needs. So contact Step Construction today at 504-340-5809 for your own personal quote. Let us help you take the next step at Step Construction.